We're going to show you now why we don't buy land, develop it into new houses, why we'd much rather buy something, renovate it, and then get it ready to use much quicker.
As you know, in your local areas, there are many unloved properties around your city or towns. Homes and Bailey love to buy all the unloved properties that are around. There are thousands in the UK. With this homelessness crisis, there is a massive thing on new build houses, building more houses, building more houses. Now, we do agree with that, but as you can imagine, by the time you've bought some land, gone for planning, and actually built the houses, you're talking a year, 18 months, 2 years. We buy a house, in our previous videos that you'll see, we complete on the Friday, the builders are normally in on the Monday, and we can turn that house around in 2, 3, 4 weeks tops. So you can see from buying a house to somebody actually living in it and calling it home, it's a much faster solution to the homelessness crisis that we have here in the UK. Also, it builds communities, it helps the local areas, it diverts crime and local nuisances in those particular streets, and it just improves it for everybody. You know, we did other videos where, you know, if you owned a house, either side of a house boarded up, it just doesn't look nice, it doesn't feel nice or safe. We can buy that house, renovate it in 3-4 weeks, and literally have somebody living there. That's really what we're about, buying as many houses as we can, all the unloved properties, the boarded up streets, the boarded up houses, and really turning them around and making them a really nice, safe place to call home.
At Homes and Bailey, we tend to renovate and regenerate properties rather than buy land, go through the planning process and develop from there into a new build. We often buy properties that have just been developed, but for us, the main reason from an investment point of view that we don't build our own stock is that it's slower and more expensive for us to do it than it is to regenerate properties and renovate them for use as social and supported housing. Very recently, we were looking at 2 different projects. One of them was to buy a site, get planning on the site and develop it, and it would have cost circa £1 million in total in terms of buying the land, doing the works. It would have taken about 12 to 18 months. The other option that we had was to spend about the same money to buy a building, a small block of apartments that needed renovating. Buying the building, doing the work, takes about 3 months, 3 to 4 months time. It costs exactly the same amount of money. The same budget was there, £1 million for that and £1 million for that. But the difference is this block of flats is ready to go. Less than half a year, it's already generating cash back in. There's no planning risk, there's no time risk, and it starts generating income very quickly. This one takes a long time, lots of planning risk. We're not saying that new build is bad, but for our model, it doesn't quite work. On top of the investment point of view, our whole ethos is about actually doing something right with the properties that we buy, making both a positive return and also a positive social impact. In our view, it's much better to get a property into use, into doing some good, creating a home for someone, creating a place that can receive support sooner rather than later. And that's another key point for us, going for regeneration and refurbishment rather than new build. Speed is a key reason as to why we renovate properties rather than build them from scratch. So there's a few things to think about. There's a whole life cycle here. If we've bought the property as an investor, we're going to want to generate our return as quickly as possible. That means it's going to be a lot quicker to start getting money come back in from regenerating a property, which will take a period of a few weeks to months, rather than building a property from scratch, which will take much longer. On top of that, it's going to be much quicker for the people who need a home. Some of the properties that we do are on a completely needs-driven basis. So we might be called by a housing provider who's been called by the council and said, we need a house for these people or a block of flats or a home for this person ASAP. And that literally might be 4, 5, 6 weeks away. We can't say this person is in need of a house, is homeless now, can you build them something? It might take 2 years, it just doesn't work. So from the point of speed, we can get people into the home that they need. If they're fleeing something, if they're fleeing violence, if they're in a bad situation, we get them into a safe, warm place where they start receiving care as quickly as possible. Another reason for speed. Thirdly is for the councils. So speed of a property starting to generate money again. When there's an empty property sitting there on the street, it just doesn't generate any money. In fact, it costs money to look after it in terms of antisocial behaviour and policing and making sure the area is okay. When a property is full and renovated, it starts generating council tax. It starts positively impacting the area. All of these things, from our point of view, happen much quicker when we regenerate and renovate rather than go from new build. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out this other video where we talk to some of the tenants to see the impact working with us and the care providers has on their lives.